And it's a great honor to be here today and talk to folks about what's going on in the Monroe community regarding economic development and small businesses. So I appreciate being here. I do have some background in that. I was also mentioning, Mark, I am a commercial realtor currently, and I do have a background in I practiced formerly as a CPA and my MBA many moons ago, so that was another area of business that I was involved with. So I'm very interested in what's going on in the community regarding business development. So excited to be here.
I am Mark Ellsworth. I am the owner of DeCapo Coffee in Temperance, Michigan. Our coffee shop has been there approximately 2 years, July 17th. I am retired from General Motors, and Ernie stopped in one day and paid me a visit and said, listen, there's a very beatable person down here named Walt Wilburn, and he said, I think you can run as a write-in. And I won as a write-in. I'm also the county commissioner in the 8th district for Monroe County. So I'm retired from General Motors. I have a degree in culinary arts from Schoolcraft College. So I make a lot of wedding cakes, and I have really good coffee. Really good coffee.
My name is Deb Sturgrave, and I'm the owner of Deb's Floral Designs. Born and raised here in Monroe, my family started North Monroe Greenhouse back in 1939, which we sold in 2007. I then opened up my own shop as under Deb's. I'm involved in many community organizations, Ducks Unlimited, Kiwanis Club of Monroe, Monroe County Dems, and just your average citizen.
I'm Gloria Rathbell. I'm currently on City Council for the 5th District, 5th Precinct, and if you have any questions, ask.
Okay, well, I guess we can just get started now and ask everybody on the panel. So we want to know, how can government and businesses best work together to create jobs in this community?
I will say I went to a meeting last Wednesday morning at the Port of Monroe. It was a great meeting because they've increased like more than 20% just this year on the traffic that's coming in and out of the river. And if you've ever met Paul Lamore, he's kind of a young guy, and he's the director down there. He has his hands in everything. He's up and down the seashore, up and down from Toledo to Detroit. He knows a lot of people, and he's bringing a lot of industry here, showing how if they build here, they can transport their products out of here. As far as economic development downtown, we're working really hard to increase the productivity downtown. We have a couple new people. One person is opening or has opened a herb store. Another person is opening a gift store. Unfortunately, we did lose 2 restaurants. I mean, they're not lost to the city, they're still on Telegraph, but they're lost to the downtown area. The downtown area is, on Fridays, has an event called First Fridays, where they have anybody that wants to, but they have a lot of people that are staying open till 10 o'clock. And the restaurants are staying open and giving some kind of discounts on that special Friday. They're playing music in the streets. They have things going on outside of their buildings. On Thursdays, every other Thursday, we have jazz night in Monroe, where there's jazz at 3 different facilities. Unfortunately, sometimes it coincides with what is going down in the park, because there's something going on down there on Thursdays. So we're trying to build the city up. And we have a meeting planned with the school board in a couple weeks, which City Council hopes to be working with the school board on a couple projects.
Do you have a DDA here?
Yeah, we do.
Is it pretty active?
Well, it's active. It's not part of the First Friday thing, but we do have a DDA. With the DDA, we have an expansion going on from the downtown on Monroe Street at Elm, 1 block north. They're going to have more of a landscape. They're going to have those new lighting systems. There's a couple trees going in, there's benches going in.
The DDA, for those of you that don't know, it's a downtown development authority, so I don't know if all you, but I just was curious that.
And we are hiring, soon to be, a new communications director who has experience running different events in the city. Excited about her.
I know you re-asked the question, just I wanna make sure I don't.
Oh, yeah, of course. Just how can government and businesses best work together to create more jobs in the community?
I know that from my standpoint, as we started the capo, there was every time we went into the government, our township office, the rules always seemed to change. There was never a consistent path of what it takes to open a business. There's a lot of people in business that have big dreams, and it's constantly, we try to open the doors and you gotta fix this, and you gotta fix that, you gotta do this, and you gotta do that. There's no clear path for anybody that wants to open a business. There's no book, there's nothing, there's no individual that you can sit down with, other, like, if you wanted to open a coffee shop, and there's nobody around to talk to, there's no path on how to make it go and how to make it successful. We've hit every wall we could run into in opening a business, every wall. From sign heights to, just different things that you would never imagine of what you would run into a small business. And government has they've never helped. They've more hurt us than helped. As far as signing, I can't even put a sign up in front of my store. You gotta pay an extra $30 to do this, and you gotta pay an extra $30 to do that. Some of that stuff is a little ridiculous in trying to build a business. It seems like they fight against you and want to see you succeed. Then that's just my opinion.
Mark,
You asked?
can we ask questions? Is that okay or
We were
no?
gonna wait until after, but yeah, if
Please,
you wanted,
I was
yeah.
just wondering, is this the city that's hamstringing you, or are you dealing with the county?
I deal with the township, and our township they have all these rules that, you just never know. You always seem to get blindsided. The sign can only be this big. For instance, I put a sign on my coffee shop that can't say coffee, because De Capo is the name of my business. I couldn't put De Capo Coffee across the front of my business. Is that ridiculous? But if I have Pizza Primo, I can put pizza in there because it's part of my name, but De Capo is an independent name. And I had to put a coffee cup, and I had people coming in for beer, when I first opened. Hey, because I'm right next to a liquor cabinet, everybody thought it was a burger place, burger and beer. It's just, because they have rules that say it's got to say your name. And at the time, I was not called De Capo Coffee, I was called De Capo. And De Capo means, it's just a musical term that means go to the beginning and do it again. So every morning we want you to come and do it again. My wife is a retired music teacher or band director in Bedford, and that's what that meant. So, but it's crazy. The sign can only be this big, no variant. It was very cumbersome trying to open a small business.
I have to agree with that. You have to have a site plan, and like in my case, they wanted a site plan in one particular township, because I've moved in a couple of different buildings, where the coolers were. I was like, really? Because it may not fit right there, and you had to go through all this stuff, and then the coolers. So it had to put where wall it had to go on, and those sort of things. One particular building, they didn't want any parking out front, and it had been that way for 50 years. And they wanted me to change it, and so those are things that you had. The signage is one thing. It's a huge, huge thing. Where I'm at right now, you can't I can't sell anything outside. That's against their ordinances. However, for the weekends, nobody's home, so it's just how it is. Those are things that, as a small business, we fight
For
to
every
get,
nickel and dime.
we
I have a
do,
question,
we
do you
fight.
actually talk to the elected officials about it and ask them why they have rules like that?
Oh, yeah. They model after
Do you have is there a
different,
business organization that you're like the chamber or some business? Just, you know, part of that is collaborating, right, Gloria, to figure out as an elected people,
well,
you know, to be pro-business, you wanna, you know, there's guidelines, but at the same time, you know, you wanna be supportive of business and not put too many barriers, and some of it's health and safety, right, you know, some of that. I mean, I know when I was mayor, we had a lot of, like, one of the things in our downtown, you couldn't have, sandwich signs on the sidewalk, or no, protruding signs that were sticking out from the buildings, right? And that was really problematic for some of the businesses, because if you're driving on the street, you couldn't see, you know, what the business was, because you were going by, and instead of, when it sticks out, when you're going by, you can actually see it better, right? So we changed up, we did a group of business owners, and we talked about what, you know, what are the things that they need, and we came up with like a happy medium, because there is a safety to that size and stuff like that. I don't get that whole talking part, but maybe that's just a legal, I don't know.
well, I have a
But yeah,
sandwich
I would
board.
just suggest maybe trying to develop a business, like maybe asking the chamber to help advocate for you in certain areas.
The chamber's not gonna do that. They're not gonna do that. That's out of their realm, okay? Like me, I have a sandwich board, okay, and if somebody calls and complains, I have to move it inside. You know, then I can take it out the next day, but if you get 3 complaints, you get fined. So those are just, you know, little things that, and for a small business, it's really difficult. It's difficult to get the people to, you know, to.
You know, I lived in Nebraska for 7 years, and Gretchen, you can probably answer this, and I can't because I haven't followed it since I came to Michigan 10 years ago. But in Nebraska, they had a Department of Economic Development, and they worked with cooperatively with the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, and they sent teams of people out, city by city, village by village, to do little seminars. And if you were trying to start a business, or you were already in business and you were having barriers, that group of people would help you get through the barriers because they were experts in those fields. And if they weren't, they would find experts in the fields. And this was all, you know, this was on the taxpayer's nickel, that they would help people start a business. There was a wonderful company down the road, just you know, maybe 15 miles from where I live, that started a salsa company that just went gangbusters. But they did got all their recipes, labeling requirements, how to meet zoning issues, and they got all this advice. And that's what Mark was talking about earlier. Is there a clear path? Do we have something like that in Michigan?
Well, there's different layers. I mean, there's a lot of local control in Michigan, so a lot,
Sure.
you know, I think it's a priority, and that's why I asked whether or not the elected officials, if you talk to your township board or the council about what the barriers are, because in Saline, we had an economic development person, and that was their job, and then we realized that to be even more competitive, we needed like an ambassador that instead of waiting for people to come to us, we actually started going out to the businesses and saying, what is it that we could do to be more helpful? We identified, like, back when we first started doing it, we were talking about the bigger businesses and access to internet. High-speed internet was a really big problem, you know, 10 years ago. We had a really big phone plan in Saline, and their phone system was like a big mess, and they said that was one of their biggest challenges was the telecommunications. So we tried to help with that. We got a little bit, but that's another challenge with, you know, the layers of it. But I think there's local, and then Mark and I were just talking before about when we had a county economic development agency called Interest Park that I was involved with very actively. That's was funded by the municipalities that identified, you know, how to help business incubators for startups, how to write a business plan, and all sorts of different tools. And then MEDC does, which is a state organization, also has staff that, you know, the small business, there's still, I think, opportunity there that tends to be a little bit more local, identifying that as a priority locally. I don't know, Gloria, is the Monroe, City of Monroe, it sounds like with the DDA, I don't know how closely you partner a lot of times the DDA only works on the area that is right downtown, and it sounds like it's more a regional issue, so maybe the county economic development agency might be the place to talk to them and say, you know, it's been pretty difficult for the smaller businesses, but I mean, really, the success of a community is based really on the small businesses. They tend to, you know, grow. Some of them obviously close, but the big business is really important. But at the end of the day, big business a lot of times will go where there's a better business incentive. You know, so while they're an important part of the community, it's really growing the small business and the flexibility is really important. So is the city, you know?
That's what I said, we hired somebody who was supposed to be the communications and director. But our point was with her, you know, of course, you've got your city council, everybody doesn't agree on the same thing. So, some people wanted this person to be a positive influence downtown, because talking about the signs issues, people don't know, and nobody was going out to help them. They were waiting for them to come to city council, or to city hall, and by the time they got there, they did it wrong, so then they had to redo it. So we have somebody now that's going to go, be in place to go there when something's opening, and tell them exactly what they can do, and help them get started, not make it hard on them, make it a lot
The
easier.
other thing to do with the sign case is, I'm sure you didn't make that sign yourself, you probably hired somebody, and those sign companies, you should, this municipality should talk to those sign businesses and say, this is our ordinance, and, you know, find the sign company, not you. The sign company is not pulling a permit and following the ordinance, you shouldn't pay a penalty for that. So that's not necessarily, I mean, there is requirements for safety. We had issues around, if you put too many signs in front of a business, you can't see what's going on in the business, and then if something, if there's a robbery, like our police were concerned, like if there was something bad going on in there, you couldn't really see because it was so blocked out. So there are, you know, reasonable issues around that, but I think the sign companies could also be more accountable for knowing what the rules are. That's their business, you know, to be doing signs that are.
I think it would be super if there was a place where this whole group of people came to, sat in a room and said, we want to open a business, what are the challenges?
Right.
Like if I would have known right up front that I needed coffee in my sign, I would have put the Capo Coffee up there right away. Not just one word. I mean, it's not until after everything's incorporated that you spend all this money doing all this stuff, it costs you a small fortune, then go back and change it all, you know. By that time, you've got so much expense into it, it would be a great thing if there were a forum like Spark where I could go and sit in and listen. They haven't opened a business. I'm going to tell you, this is a crazy thing about Bedford. You guys are going to laugh when I tell you this, but we have this thing called the BBA, Bedford Business Association, which it just blows my mind. When I tell you this, you're not going to believe it, but I want to open a business, I want to go to the BBA and join this business association. No, you can't join. You haven't opened your doors in your business yet. I couldn't join until I opened my business. By that time, all the local people had lost business cards. You know, if I didn't know some of these people, business cards, advertising stuff, all that. All those people in the BBA that I could have worked with locally had no access to me. That's how crazy some of this gets. And there's no real way sometimes of just going to talk to somebody. It's been frustrating. It's been very frustrating.
I don't have that. I don't have a DDA, a DDA, I don't have any of that because I'm sitting here in Wisconsin. I don't have any of that. So, you can join those networking things that they break up every, 3 months or whatever,
Do they have a person on staff that does economic development, like your clerk or something like that?
Not that I know of.
Alright, well, I think moving on to the next one, what state and federal policies are helping your local businesses or hurting them?
So what policy?
Yes, and it could be on, a national level or just even a local one, you guys kind of talked about that, so perhaps what could they do more, what is, impeding on that?
schools and roads. Schools are getting killed in Lansing,
Yeah.
as are the roads, you know, everybody's yelling about the roads. And we can talk about the county roads, but we have, M50 is a road that goes, it's a state road that goes through the city. So they have more control than we have. Anything we wanna do on that road has to be okay in Lansing.
Need to be working on that road. That is, there's a road committee now working on it in Lansing, so we'll see. Yeah.
If they can put it in place.
I'm gonna put my commissioner's hat on now, and I'm gonna talk about an issue that we have. We have a business park, down in Temperance, and I have a local business that I've been trying to help for a while, Fisher Tool. It's the second largest tool and die shop in the United States. A lot of people don't know that Fisher Tool is that big, but they are that big. They design a blueprint, for instance, and it takes them 72 hours to ship it to their plant in Tennessee because of the bandwidth in their internet is so poor. They can only ship 2 gigs out. So currently, we are working with a company called Comwith, who are taking a line off that goes from Toledo to Detroit. It's a new company to get them better internet service. That are getting ready to go into that business park, so we're trying to get businesses lined up to increase their bandwidth and their speed and cut their cost almost in half. Which is a good thing. That might be something you want to listen and figure out.
I have been working on that as a state house rep. I have residents in particular that don't have access to the internet at home. So we've been working on that since I first started. That was one of my first calls.
Some of the things here again, though, that take the time, believe it or not, are going to be the railroads. Trying to get stuff under all the railroads or over the railroads, it's almost impossible, and it takes time to get the railroads to buy into drilling under, going over railroads. So I don't know if the state can help in facilitating. I know the Tim Lake is trying to help. He's a local guy. He's trying to help with that also. So that's
having a tunnel in the rail.
no, just run a cable line underneath.
The cable.
Just run a piece of cable underneath the railroad. It's like. It's like an act of Congress. It's an act of Congress. They're not even asking them to pay for it. We'll pay for it. Just let us do it. Yes, that's what it is. It's crazy.
I don't have anything with that. I'm not, because you don't have to be, I don't have to be state licensed or anything like that outside of the sales tax, so I don't really deal with anything like that.
Has anybody heard of the Lucas County, Monroe County partnership for starting businesses? I was going to go to Lucas County actually to ask for help because there was some kind of an advertisement about that. And you folks are really close, or at least you are.
I am. Yeah,
You've never heard of the Lucas County, they were getting involved with Monroe County. I know it was a partnership. So I was just curious.
I have, part of it. It's called Teamagog. It's businesses, educational, and government together. And there's, it's Monroe County, it's Lucas County, but it also extends to Wood County, Lenawee County. Mainly Monroe and Lucas when we do things together.
Okay.